Hey guys, welcome to Mastering Mondays. It's going to be a great day. I am Omika Benjamin and I am excited. Alan and Monique Williams never disappoint. And since they never disappoint, why should we disappoint them and not show up, right? So go ahead and drop your name, your city, and the state in the chat. Go ahead and share this with about 3 people. It's time to make Monday meaningful. So let's go ahead and get into this content.
Hey guys, it's Alan Williams Jr. and you are inside another episode of Mastering Monday. Listen, I'm excited to be with you guys. I'm always excited to be with you guys. I guess you say, Alan, why do you have that big smile every time? Because you see enough frowns throughout the week anyway, right? So one thing that we're going to get on Mastering Monday is a good welcoming smile. We're going to get some good revelation, man. We're going to get some good insight, enough strategies to take us into this work week and take us into, our work and master and come out on top, right? So guys, we are continuing the conversation on the mentality of mastery. If this is your first time, big shout out to you. So glad to have you on here. I'm looking forward to connecting. Make sure you lock in to the Daniel Center of Leadership Facebook group on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram if you haven't already, because I believe the revelation, the insight, the strategies, the conversation, sometimes the laughter that we have, I think is game changing, and you need to be connected to a community that you can build off on that. People who are hearing the same types of information, people who are like-minded and they have the same type aspirations. So head over to our Facebook group. Make sure you join that community so we can keep this conversation going. I believe that the entire concept of emotional management is a concept that is not talked about enough. Right? It's not talked about enough. I remember I was going through, a very, very, very huge transition, not only in my business, but also in my life and, with my family. So as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a entrepreneur, and even, as a professional, I just remember, we were taking this big leap of faith, my wife and I, we were taking a leap of faith. We were believing God, fasted, prayed, and I remember being in a conversation with my mentor, my spiritual mentor, as well as my mentor in business, who is the founder of the Daniel Center of Leadership, Mr. Marcus Benjamin. And we were in a conversation. It wasn't a planned coaching conversation. We were just kind of talking about a few things that we needed to do, check off the list, that kind of thing. And I remember we came across this conversation of pressure, right? We came across the conversation of pressure. And one of the things that he said to me is that pressure is an area that doesn't get talked about enough correctly. What he went on to say is, oftentimes when we hear about pressure, we hear about pressure from a negative standpoint. When we hear about pressure, pressure, we're taught to look at that, or we're conditioned to look at pressure as something that is negative. As man, if something is causing me pressure, then this can't be of God, right? Like this can't be what I need to be doing. And in the midst of having this conversation, I'm going through this huge, transition, walking my family through a transition, we're just going through this huge, we moved physically, we're moving, spiritually. And just a lot of areas within that. And he began to talk about pressure and bring that awareness that, oftentimes the pressure that we face is necessary. And if it wasn't for the pressure, then we wouldn't have the push. We wouldn't have the urge. We wouldn't have the reason to be able to perform at a high level, to be creative, to be our best version of ourselves, to make a way out of no way. But it's something about having our backs against the wall that causes us to perform at a higher level. right? Can you relate to that? Maybe in your own personal life, when you had to make some decisions, you had to, like I say, make something shake, right? You had to turn one into two, and you didn't really have much support, right? But you had to get yourself out of a bind. We all can think about those times, right? We all can listen, drop I can relate in the comments. I can relate to that. Yeah, it's kind of like in sports, right? Like if we're playing sports, we're playing basketball and we're down, right? We're down, but we're going into the fourth. We're down by 8. We know we can beat this team. It's like, man, I have a choice to make. They're gaining momentum, and I know what's on the inside of me, and I know what's on the inside of this team. And the only way to stop their momentum is if I put my game face on. Yes, my back is up against the wall. However, I'm not losing this game. Listen, that's a mentality. That's a mentality. And yes, even using that basketball analogy, right? Yes, we're under pressure. We're under pressure. When we're going into the fourth, maybe it's a big game, right? It's a big postseason game, and we can't lose this game. If we lose this game, we're done for the season. We're down by 8. They're gaining momentum. They just scored 10 back to back. So now what do we do with that pressure? How do we turn that pressure around off of us and onto our performance? That's the conversation that we don't have. No, because we're conditioned to when we face pressure, we run. When we face pressure, we're like, oh man, this just must be my season of struggle. Or, oh man, I have to go through this. I have to endure this. Listen, no, yes, you have to endure this, but again, you're persisting through this pressure. So I'm going to use this pressure to fuel me to be a version of myself that I haven't even seen yet. So, as we talk about the mentality of mastery, I thought about that story because it's so profound, because we have to be able to accurately analyze the pressures that we face as believers. Yes, we're going to go through. As professionals, we're going to go through. Listen, if you're a corporate America, you're going to go through things, right? If you're building your business, you're definitely going through things. But what's your mentality about pressure? I'll take it a step further, and this is what we want to talk about today. What is your mentality around the emotions that are attached to mastery? Because one thing about emotions, the emotions of mastery are very real, but they're also temporary. Yeah. And oftentimes we get to a place where we feel like our emotions that we face are determining factors. We feel like, man, if I have a really good emotion, I'm feeling really happy, I'm feeling really joyful, I'm feeling inspired right now, then we feel like everything else has to match that. And when something doesn't portray happiness or joy or inspiration, now we feel like we're being attacked, not realizing that that is a temporary emotion. And although good, it's not a determining factor. So if other things don't match up to that, I still pursue the goal at hand. I still pursue mastery. So no matter what I'm working at, no matter what emotions I feel, going forward, that isn't my determining factor. That's not what is labeling who I am, what's defining who I am and what I do. No, that's just an emotion. And we have to understand that if we're going to master our craft, master our work, be a master in our family, if we're going to obtain mastery, we have to understand that we first also have to master our emotions. Come on, somebody drop that in the comments. Drop that in the comments, guys. We have to master our emotions. So we can't just set out to do something great, right? And not have a plan. You remember we talked about motivation has to be converted into discipline. This is the conversion. This is the conversion. We have to be able to master our emotions because, guys, our emotions are going to change. I mean, throughout the day, your emotions are changing in every single thought you have, every single thing you intake, every single, conversation you're having. That's why I tell people, listen, it's one thing to set out to do something great, but you got to watch what you're putting into yourself, right? What are you filling yourself up with? You got to be able to manage that. And on this episode of Mastering Monday, I want to open up. I want us to ease into this conversation or this thought about mastering our emotions, because guys, over the next few weeks, we're going to really delve into this concept, because life is happening, emotions are happening, but the reason we aren't reaching the goals that we want to reach, and the reason we aren't seeing the consistency in our results that we want to see, is because we're leaving out one critical area, and that's our emotions. See, this is what Instagram doesn't tell you. This is what Facebook stories don't tell you. They don't tell you how to master your emotions. This is what those tweetable quotes, they don't tell you that. They don't show you how to master your emotions whenever you're going through things and you're feeling really, really good at 1 minute, and then you go through something else the next minute and you're feeling horrible. When you are defining yourself by external things that are outside of your control, and you're not even saying a word. Like, people aren't knowing, what's going on with him. Last time I saw him, he was doing okay. The last time I saw her, she had this award, she did this, she was doing that. And then now, a week later, man, I mean, she's having all of these crazy thoughts. He's doing all of these crazy things. I mean, listen, social media doesn't have a management process for that. Oftentimes, those that are closest to us, they don't have answers for that, because they're trying to keep us encouraged. They want to see that same version of you, that they saw the last time. In order for us to obtain mastery in any area, we should first be seeking to obtain mastery within ourselves and within our emotions. So as you go forward on this Mastering Monday, I want to challenge you to master your emotions. I want to challenge you to be more aware of how you're feeling and understand that although this is an emotion, this is a temporary emotion. It could be a really, really good emotion, or it could be an unfavorable emotion. I could feel sad. I could feel insignificant. I could feel insufficient. But understand, that's not defining me. No, I know who I am. I know who I'm called to be, and I'm going to go forward and occupy in that. So that's my challenge to you guys today. Manage your emotions, master your emotions, and understand that they don't define you and that they're temporary. But as the emotions grow, you're going to pursue to mastery. Guys, I'm Alan Williams Jr. I'll see you back here next week on Mastering Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Marcus Benjamin, the co-founder of the Daniel Center of Leadership. And yes, I'm hanging out at the streaming suite right here in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where we are broadcasting all over the world. And we believe, God, we're touching people in the U.S. and globally. So listen, as we master our Monday, I want you to hang out with us, connect, share, engage, but most of all, apply the insight that you received, because we believe, as a result of encountering Omika Benjamin, our co-founder, Alan Williams, our executive director, and Monique Williams, our partnership director, the insight, the perspective, the laughter, the humor, and ultimately we believe the grace of God is going to impact your life in a meaningful and a positive way.